KUGAN, CASSIUS, IFL TV, MTK Global, at the O2 Arena here, post-fight interview with Mr. Eddie Hearn. Yeah, I mean, he's got to have bollocks on him, Ted Cheeseman.
Brutal fight, mate, brutal fight. I mean, look, he made so many mistakes, we know that, you're entitled to do that at 23, but, you know, the reality is, wasn't good enough. Sergio Garcia, I thought, was outstanding, but Ted Cheeseman showed probably the biggest set of balls I've seen for a long time. It's so easy when you're 7 rounds down through 9, just to say, do you know what, let's just sort of try and get behind a jab and hold and get through it. He didn't stop trying to win the fight for 1 second of the fight. Even in the 12th round when he had absolutely nothing in his tank. But, you know, it's easy to talk about the mistakes, you know, the lack of head movement, the lack of jab, and sometimes maybe he felt that he was going to overpower Sergio Garcia, not just with his punch power, but with his fitness, with his engine. And Sergio Garcia's engine was actually on another level. I mean, he's a world-class fighter, and I think, say, you know, was asked the question, did you underestimate him? Oh, I mean, you know, it was a fight that, you know, everybody wanted in the camp, and, you know, he'll come again. But it was a brutal fight, and, you know, a good performance from Sergio Garcia. And Ted Cheeseman will come again, he's still British champion, but obviously showed tonight not quite at that level.
Are these fights, like when we keep going back to Lewis Ritson and Patera and now Cheeseman, you know, ultimately they're taking this European level fights before they even think about moving on to world, and it's a good measuring to see where they are.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Ritson wasn't quite himself in that fight, to be honest with you. Ted had a good camp, there was no excuses in this fight, but there's no harm in finding out where you're at. That's the brutal reality.
Is it better to find out at this level or jump to world level and find out there?
No, because Ted's not, you know, miles off world level. He's had 15 fights, but probably maybe a defence of the British first. And then, but it's easy to say now. He could have stopped him in 5 or 6 rounds, and everyone says, "Oh, it was a mismatch." Blah, blah, blah. But so you can't really win.
They would have done it.
Yeah, they would. But what you can say is that we found out tonight a lot about Ted Cheeseman. We found out he's not quite European. I'd say that guy's. It's tough to say it's world level because he was in with Ted tonight, but I feel like he's a world level, fringe world level guy. So we found out tonight that Ted Cheeseman is not a European fringe level guy.
Yes.
But but he's 23 years old. He would have learned so much. You don't want too many fights like that, by the way. But he's young enough, he's fit enough to go through those fights and come back stronger. He'll come back, he'll defend his British title, and I bet he looks great doing it. But he knows you can't come forward with your hands down and not move your head. And he got hit much too much tonight. But, you know one thing, everyone that was in the arena went out going, fuck me, what a boy he is, Ted Cheeseman. And the fan base will grow, you know, the support will grow, but he has to improve in areas to get to that level.
Definitely puts any talk of a Fowler fight on hold for the moment.
Oh, really? Because Fowler want to win a British title. We've got
Fitzgerald in the mix of this as well.
You know, the winner of that fight is going to want to fight for the British title.
So you believe
which Ted Cheeseman. One of the reasons of taking that fight tonight, that risk, is you are still British champion.
Yeah.
So you're trying to get up the ladder. It's like snakes and ladders. This game, you come back down the ladder to where you were before. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. So it's not like, oh my God, where do we go from here? We know where we go from here. A defence of the British title. Where we don't go from here is a defence of the European title. And, you know, Ted talking about Munguia, and he's like this. Sometimes you get a little bit carried away.
But you said this yesterday. You said a lot of these fighters, they're talking about other fights in this weight category.
Same with Fowler and Fitzgerald. You don't know, you know, my job is to hype these guys, yeah? So their job is to not believe the hype. But a lot of people talking about Cheeseman walking through this guy, doing this, doing that, and ultimately wasn't good enough for European level. That's the reality. But we found out, you know, and that's going to make him learn more than any easy victory. But it's a fucking brutal sport, man. And you know, these boys get stick and they get criticism. And I'm not saying you mustn't give fighters stick and criticism because you're fans. This is a sport. But, mate, tell me another sport where you have to go through that. You know, 12 rounds. I gave him 2 or 3 rounds in the fight, and he got beat up at times. His tank was emptied, and for not 1 second did he not stop trying to win the fight. And I think he deserves a lot of credit for that.
Absolutely. Great performance from Craig Richards.
Really good.
What now for Craig Richards, and also what now for Jake Ball?
I think we said before the fight that the winner of that fight looks at the big domestic fights and is now a major player, and the loser is out of the running for those big domestic fights. And we'll sit down, talk to Jake. I don't know what he's going to want to do. He's only had a couple of fights with Dominic Ingle. There's fights out there for him, but it was a big, it was a crushing defeat for him tonight. And the manner in which it happened, it was a dominating Craig Richards performance. It wasn't a close fight. Craig was always in control. He looked really big and
numerous
strong.
knockdowns.
And I think Craig is going to be a threat, the light heavyweight division. I think he's really moulding into that weight. And I think Craig's a guy that, if he believes in himself a little bit more, I think he's a really, really nice guy. And I think sometimes he's been a little, like even in the Buglioni fight, he sort of gave him a little bit too much respect, and I don't think he felt that he was at that level. And now he feels he is at that level. And a Craig Richards against Jose Burton for the Commonwealth title.
Yeah, you spoke about that.
That's a fight that hits me instantly. I think it's a great fight.
But you could make that very easily.
Like, see, it's not. I mean, it don't always work like that, Kugan.
Oh, talk with the man actually.
Buddy.
I was about to bring you up.
My man.
I don't really recognise him without the locks on.
I know,
Do you what
everyone
I mean?
keeps saying that. It's like, what's going on, bro?
Yeah, you've just announced, obviously, we're just coming on to that. Lawrence Coley will take on Waddy Camacho, British and Commonwealth titles.
Great fight for the copper, but I'm very proud of Waddy because we worked together earlier in his career, and he has gone away. He's grafted. He lost to Isaac Chamberlain, and really,
Which was a great fight.
It was a brilliant fight, and I thought probably that's it for Waddy, but he kept himself to himself. Shout out to Steve Goodwin, who kept him going, who kept giving him opportunities. He won Southern areas, fought English titles, and then got the Commonwealth title and won that. And now he sits on the verge of probably, if he beats Lawrence Okoli, maybe even looking at a European or world title shot. So it just shows you that if you stay in the game and you continue to learn, like he has done, and you have the right team of people around you, don't get me wrong, it's a very difficult fight against Okoli. It is. He can punch, he's awkward as fuck. I mean, he's a nightmare to fight, Lawrence Okoli. And I'm sure people have got their ideas of how to beat him. Doing it is another thing. And I'm not saying he can't, but it is an awkward fight. But Waddy's got plenty of experience and nothing to lose.
And like I said as well, there's no pressure for me. I just have to do what I do best. And then, like I said, for my last two fights, everyone said I was completely done. And once again, I've just proved everyone wrong. And I will do that on March 23rd as well. So everyone tune in because you're going to see something different. Believe.
We look forward to it.
Week.
Beautiful. Sorry for budging it.
Good to see you, mate.
That's all right.
See you soon, mate.
No problem. Can you just run me through some of the other of your prospects on the card tonight?
Tonight,
Cash winning the Commonwealth title.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I wasn't expecting him to lose that fight, but you saw the guy go good 12 hard rounds with Sam Sheedy in a close fight. Felix just demolished him, put him down with a jab, knocked him out with a right hand. I really feel like Felix, his dad come up to me tonight and pulled me and said, "Oi, don't worry about Buatsi and Kelly and those boys. My boy's the one." And I think sometimes they feel like, you have your preferences. You don't. Just commercially, people have different values and, Sky and the crowd. See you, mate. Well done.
We love you back here.
Thank you, mate. I'm sure you'll boo me later. And, I think that someone like Felix, technically really, really good, hasn't had the benefit of, the Olympics and World Championship wins, was a GB fighter. I think he's a really good fighter in the middleweight division, and I like his style. I think he's extremely dedicated, and I thought it was a good performance. Okoli, really good performance. He's going to be just a nightmare to beat, nightmare to fight, nightmare to beat. And I think once these guys start coming to fight him a little bit more, you're going to see him looking more and more exciting. In terms of excitement tonight, compared to the Matty Askin fight, that was fucking orgasmic tonight. It couldn't have got much worse than the Askin fight, but you go back to, he beat Matty Askin in his 10th fight for the British title. So how can you be critical? So him against Camacho, and Waddy will come to win. Will come to win. And it's, like I said to him now, it's a fucking tough fight for Waddy. That is a tough fight. Fabio Wardley, really excited about him. 23 years old, 24 years old. He moves to 7-0 now, something like that. I think he hits very hard. Split that geezer's nose in about 4 pieces.
Will be some exciting fights.
Yeah. Danny Saxo, good win for him. Scott Fitzgerald, very poor opponent, but obviously wanted to go through the motions and get ready for a very, very, very important fight on March 30th.
Can you just touch on, Ed, on Charles Frankham? What the situation regarding him is?
So there was a query on one of his medicals, So the board wanted a bit more time. So it's disappointing. But
Should he be all right?
Yeah, I believe he'll be fine, and we'll let the board take their time to obviously go through the right process. And he'll be probably debuting on the Copper Box show, which we announced tonight.
Yeah, great show.
Great show, yeah,
Charlie Edwards.
Yeah, I'm so pleased for Charlie. You know, he's got a real good following now, real good following, and he deserves it. And it's funny, like how in boxing, just like in life, you can kind of like be. Charlie felt for a long time that he was sort of on the shelf. You know, even with I'm trying to look for opportunities for him, and sometimes I think people might think as fighters, oh, what's Eddie doing for me? Do you know, does he really care about me? Like, but I am beavering away. It's a good term in the background, trying to make things happen. We made things happen. MTK put the pressure on me. You know, they wanted a world title shot for Charlie. We delivered, and just like that, in one night, you know, you don't just win a world title. You win the WBC title. And when you click onto BoxRec and you see number one, as in the number one flyweight in the world, we need to get behind Charlie Edwards. I mean, we need to get behind Charlie Edwards. You do, Sky do, but the public need to get behind Charlie Edwards, and I think they're doing it. To be honest with you, and we're doing it. Sky are doing it, but collectively we've got to do it because he's a world champion. And he'll headline at the Copper Box against Angel Marino, which actually I don't really want him to do now because it's Sergio Garcia's stablemate. So they'll be buzzing. And Joshua Buatsi will fight for the British title. It's a big night for him against Liam Conroy. Wadi Camacho will put his Commonwealth on the line against Lawrence Okoli and his British title. Lewis Ritson returns as well against Andy Townend. Lewis defending his British title fight. So 1 world title fight, 3 British title fights, and we've got plenty more to add as well. So March 23rd, stick that in your diary, Copper Box. And, you know, it was I want to try and make these cards, might shock you, but keep the ticket prices nice and low, make it accessible. Now, we started from 30 quid tonight. It was a good crowd, I thought. Good atmosphere for Ted as well. And, you know, the Copper Box is going to be a cauldron that night. And I hope everyone comes out to support Charlie.
Ed, my sources tell me that...
You sound like another journalist, we know. Go on.
No, my sources tell me that a deal for Joshua Miller is done and agreed.
Not true.
So when people say, sources say, blah, 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 like, to your knowledge, where do they obtain this information from
No
if
idea.
it's not true?
The great thing about me is I'll tell you the truth. You might not believe I'm telling the truth, and you might think I'm just being arrogant or whatever, but I'm telling you the truth. We're very close to a deal with Jarrell Miller.
Okay.
But there is no deal yet.
Has he knocked back an offer?
Initially, yeah. But I don't think the money is necessary. When you do a deal like this, when you've got a guy challenging for the world heavyweight title, it's not just like, all right, there's the day, I'll see you there, mate. You know what I mean? There's lots of different things to box off, and I'm confident that fight can be made. And, you know, there is still the talk. If I went back to Dillian Whyte now and we started talking about a May or June fight, and obviously we'd have to improve the numbers, that fight I believe can still get made. But I do believe Dillian Whyte will box here on April 20.
Here?
Yeah. Did you not know about this?
I thought you was going up north.
No. We got confirmation tonight. We're here, baby. 02, April 20.
Oh, yes. I thought you was going to Manchester, if I'm being honest.
We're thinking about it.
Okay. My sources also tell me that, what is this about Golovkin and Andrade?
Nothing at all. Again, that was sources. Golovkin's going to fight Andrade. I'm not talking about the Golovkin discussions or negotiations because it will bite me in my arse. I've got too much respect for Gennady Golovkin. He ain't fighting Andrade.
Is the Billy Joe Saunders situation with Andrade still...
He's the mandatory. That, as far as we are concerned, as far as Andrade concerned, that is the fight that's happening next. There's no negotiations for Andrade to fight Golovkin. There's not really any discussions. There is, I mean, maybe his name popped up in a meeting, but not even talked about a fight. You know, we know what we're doing next for Andrade, and that will be in May or June, and that will be Andrade against Billy Joe Saunders.
Okay.
So, again, the sources were wrong.
The sources?
The sources, the HP, the daddies.
Are you currently in negotiation with MTK or over the Saunders fight to reach a deal?
Look, we've done all that before.
Yeah,
so obviously now the split has flipped the other way. It was 75-25 to Billy, now it's 75-25 to Andrade. Plus 5% if he travels. So the deal's different, but the template is there if you like. So I wouldn't say we're far down the road with it, but like I said, in our head, Andrade Saunders happens in May or whenever. I'd like to happen in America. If they
Could it happen here?
I can't see how in a split like that, and I don't think the money's here for that fight. You know, the money for that fight is in America on the zone, on a you know, and the winner of that fight will be in line to be in the mix to fight Canelo, Danny Jacobs winner. You know, Golovkin. I don't know. That, you know, you could talk about the Golovkin fight after that if Golovkin joins the zone. But these sources that are, you know, I mean, see you, mate. You know, these sources. A source is like someone just phones you up and says, "Oh, mate, not being funny, just to let you know, Andrade's fighting Saunders." Sources say. I mean, I could plant so much shit.
Sources say Barker's fighting Martinez.
Yeah.
All right, mate.
Hey,
What?
the dream's over.
Sergio didn't even know.
Why did you think?
Running scared.
Bottled it.
Yeah.
Bottled it.
Running scared. That was disappointing, wasn't it?
It was gutted. I was. Do you know what? When I watched Garcia, I'm not gonna say I wasn't impressed, but I didn't see anything that I was impressed with. But yeah, it just shows you at this, you know, at this level, you need more than just your hands up walking forward. You got to have a plan B, and he didn't have
I
one.
think got maybe carried away with you're going to outwork him, you're going to overpower him.
Look, one thing with Ted, you know, he trains so hard. He does.
How big is his bollocks, by the way, as well?
He didn't
I
stop
said,
it.
you know, like you get some fights or fighters where you get to 8 or 9 rounds in, they've lost like 90% of the rounds, and it's like, do you know
deflated,
what?
head down.
Yeah, but I'll just get through it now on points. Not for 1 second did he not stop trying to win that fight.
Like you say though, look, he's still British champion.
No, I said
It's
that,
what
yeah.
you take. I don't think defeat now is as damaging as it used to be.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It's what you take
Especially
from
when
defeat.
you're British champion and you go to the European, you're still British
Yeah.
champion. You know,
Thanks, Darren.
Pleasure.
that was polite for fuck off.
Safe journey home?
No,
No,
mate.
absolutely not. Canelo.
See you later, mate.
Canelo Jacobs confirmed for Sky Sports.
Yeah, May 4th, mega
May
fight.
4th.
Mega fight.
We get that for Nixies.
What?
We get that for Nixies
What's Nix's?
for free.
Who?
Like we.
Sky.
At home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking generous
Oh,
bastard. Generous bastard.
Canelo, part of our subscription.
Yeah. What can I say?
Don't mind about that. Are you likely to feature any of our UK-based fighters over there on that card?
Yes, I'm in negotiations for a big fight on that card for one of our British fighters.
Ryder Lemieux?
Yes.
You've already
I
said
said
it to
that
us
because
before. You
Ryder.
said-
We're hoping to make Ryder Lemieux for the WBA regular. If Canelo will kindly let that one become vacant, and then the winner of that will be Callum Smith's mandatory.
Can I ask you a
So
question?
yes, you can.
Do you regard the regular title as a world title? I had this Twitter debate today, and I was
Do you know
saying
what?
that
I have to say yes, because it is a world title.
because someone clipped out something you said about the governing body rules in terms of unification, which we know what they view that as. You can't unify with
That's
a regular
right.
title,
Yeah, it's correct.
which is
yeah.
true.
It's correct.
But you,
This is how I see it. I think that the regular title is a world title because it is a world title. It is the WBA world title. How it is regarded, and if you know, can you go down in history as a world champion is the debate. For me, yes, because it is a world title. Is it a weaker version than the super title? 100%. But, by the way, there are some fucking good WBA regular champions. There is a Manny Pacquiao who is WBA regular champion. I mean, actually, Gervonta Davis is really the WBA regular champion, but they switched them round. Canelo is WBA regular champion. So, I just think it's...
when David Hay beat Valiev, was that WBA
Yeah, I think
regular?
it was,
Or did they have that
I think
status
they had a
then?
super... Wasn't he in recess or something?
Hello,
Well done, sir.
come in. Who do you want him to fight again?
I said Jose
Jose
Burton for
Burton.
the Commonwealth because listen, I said in the interview after, the great thing for Craig Richards is he can go out tomorrow. Like, you know when you have a good night Saturday, not as in like you went out and you got pissed and had a good night, but for your life you have a good night. Do you know what the sweetest thing is? Sunday.
Yes.
Right?
Waking up is so good.
He will wake up because I remember, you know, the equivalent of what he achieved tonight was like, I don't know, Joshua beating Klitschko. And when I woke up on that Sunday, mate, my balls just tingled all day. Right? So he is going to get that tomorrow.
Yeah,
and
well.
tomorrow he's going to wake up, he's going to have a roast dinner, and he's going to go, do you know what? Fucking great night. I have arrived.
Yes.
And with Craig, I think the only thing he's lacked, and I said it in the interview about 10 minutes ago, just a little bit of belief.
Yeah.
That's all.
100%.
Because I think sometimes you don't know if you're good enough, and then all of a sudden you start thinking, do you know what? I am good enough.
Yeah.
So he can do anything. He could fight an international fight. You know, he could go to America. He could fight Jose Burton. You know,
Fancy the Burton fight?
Any fight for me, really.
But specifically Burton, if he wants to make that for the
Yeah, it was right. It makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, it makes sense.
Monies.
America sounds good, though.
Everyone wants to go to
Everyone wants to go to America.
Nah,
but you know,
depends.
I just think now's a good time. You got to take your time. Got to enjoy what's happened. He lives a clean life. It's not like he's going to go out and get hammered for 3 months. He lives the life, and he deserves it. And I'm pleased for him because when we sat down in the Europa hotel at 1 o'clock in the morning, weighing up whether to fight Buglioni at 6 days' notice, it was like, is this the right thing? I honestly believe that it was the right thing to do because 1, he got a great payday, but 2, he got an unbelievable learning experience. 3, I still think he possibly could have won that fight if he had the belief.
I believe, yeah.
Because he never really was like a cagey performance. Can I do the 12?
Yeah,
Am I
that's what
fit
it was,
enough?
yeah.
Am I good enough?
Yeah.
And now, if he went in tomorrow, maybe that fight would have been a different fight. So, it's a big night for Craig Richards. And he hasn't had the benefit of, GB, World Championship, all that kind of stuff. And actually, Peter Sims has been the one that has been nudging me for years and years, saying, get Craig out.
Yeah.
And sometimes in fights that didn't really mean anything, but you had to keep him out and keep him busy. Now, you put him in a meaningful fight, and shout out to Jake Paul as well, because they both had to take this fight.
Yeah.
And, he goes on and upwards, and like I said, Sunday's going to be
Buzzing
beautiful.
day for me.
Any final words from yourself, Mr. Richards?
Oh, no, I just want to thank everyone. Thank Jake for taking the fight. And, I'm just ready to move on.
Burton next. We like that fight. We like that fight. Make that fight happen. We love that fight.
Sounds good.
Just so you know. Thank you.
All right, mate. See you later, Craig.
Congratulations. So you've announced everything for March now. You've got nothing. Oh, Mexico.
So Feb 23, Rios against Soto. It's our first little Mexican show.
Something
Cheeky
did
little
raise-
Tijuana.
Yeah, that raised my eyebrows a little bit.
Just we're going to start doing some shows in Mexico.
Tijuana.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
I've seen Narcos,
that's
brother,
Feb
right?
23.
Yeah.
The following weekend is March the 2nd, which is a next gen show
Peterborough.
in Peterborough. Jordan Gill against Juan Dominguez for the WBA International Featherweight title. Anthony Sims Jr. Back in the UK. Lee Wood, Jose Burton.
Can't you put him in with a Brit?
Who?
Sims.
Trying to, yeah.
Okay.
Then March the 9th is Bivol against Joe Smith Jr. Hooker against Lespierre. Callum Johnson against Shawnee Monaghan. Kuzmin on that card as well. And then the following Friday, March 15th, is our St Patrick's Day card. Tevin Farmer against John O'Carroll for the world title. Katie Taylor against Volante for the unified women's lightweight title. Gabriel Rosado against Shulecki as well, which is a great middleweight fight as well for that card. Hank Lundy against Avery Sparrow, etc., etc. Also, March 9 is the debut of Ofer Jones 3, which is our young guy. Give him a follow on social media. And March the 15th is our debut of Raymond Ford. Give him a follow on social media as well. Anyway, from March 15, we go March 23rd. March 8, which is the Friday night before Bivol Smith Jr. We're in Milan for our Matchroom Italy show.
Okay.
March 23, we're at the Copper Box. Edwards against Marino, Boazzi against Conroy, Akoli against Chamberlain, and Ritson against Townend. March 30th, we're in Liverpool for Smith Eggington, Fowler Fitzgerald, Hughes against Robbie Davis Jr.
Who's Price gonna
David
fight?
Price. I'll announce next week.
Will we be
it's a
happy?
Brit.
It's a Brit.
Yeah,
Well, that's
that's March
interesting.
30, and then April 6th.
Can I just mouth it?
Go on. Who? No.
Okay.
But that's an option.
Oh,
as well.
okay.
April 6th, just tying up the date, is the
LA card.
yes, with Rung Savai against Estrada, Danny Roman against TJ Dehenny unification, maybe Jesse Vargas as well, and then April 13 could be our first Germany show, and then April 20 looks like we're here at the O2. April 27 I think is Italy. May
Are you
the
at all
4th
these
is
shows?
Canelo Jacobs, yeah. May the 11th could be a week off. May the 18th is the return of Usyk. May the 25th,
Where's Usyk going to fight?
Chicago or Washington.
That's a Matchroom DAZN show.
No, it's a fucking top rank show.
All right.
Well,
Who's he going to fight?
stupid question. I don't know, working it out.
No, it just could have been over here.
See you later, mate. Well done.
Well done, Frank.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, he's actually had been standing in front of you
Should we
now.
like... Right.
See you later, mate. Take care. So my sauce is also.
Go on, fucking hell, go on, what?
I got no sauce. I'm running out of sauce.
Oh, you run out of sauce.
Pete,
Mate, if you want to get in, just come in. Like,
just answer one thing. What will you announce next week? Hoping to.
probably Joshua's fight.
And Dylan Whyte's fight?
Quite possibly. Maybe they fight each other.
God. Just fucking
Don't rule
sort it
anything
out, Ed.
out. Tyson Fury could find me tomorrow and make the fight.
You know, like, as viewers, there's only so much like people will take.
You love it. It's a fucking soap opera.
That was a great video with Dylan Whyte.
Was it good?
A bit awkward.
Was it? I don't really.
It was a little bit awkward.
I don't really feel. You know, I've got my opinion of the situation. I won't necessarily talk about my opinion of the situation because I have respect for him, and we've got to move on. You know, we either look at the fight for May or June, or he boxes here on April 20. So there's no point fucking moaning about
Someone
it.
tweeted me when it's so clearly staged. I was like, that's the most understaged thing ever. Eddie
Shout out
Hearn,
to IFL viewers. Cheers for the support. Great night tonight. See you.
press conference
2
next
1.
week.
Oh yeah, press conference for the Cogbox.
What day is that?
What was you reckon? Wednesday.
Cheeky
Thursday?
Wednesday.
Cheeky Wednesday.
Cheeky Wednesday.
See you later.
Cheers.